The Federal is organizing the Tenkasi Marathon 2024 on March 24. This marathon is about raising awareness for 100% voting, supporting breast cancer awareness, and celebrating International Women's Day month. This event is sponsored by INM Scan.
Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. You must have seen former Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar taking a vow that he will deal with the violations of the Model Code of Conduct very, very sternly, irrespective of the status of the star campaigners. After the announcement of the Lok Sabha elections, many WhatsApp users in India and abroad have received an open letter by the Prime Minister of India. Now, this letter was sent through a WhatsApp account whose name is Viksit Bharat Sankalp, and the sender is supposed to be the Ministry of IT and Electronics. It's supposed to be a business account, which is a paid service. Now, if the sender is the Ministry of IT and Electronics, and if the messages have been received after the announcement of the Lok Sabha elections, so is this open letter via WhatsApp not a violation of the Model Code of Conduct? That is question number one. Second, where did the government of India get the data from? And also, there are reports that a UAE national who is probably a marketing consultant whose name is Anthony Perimal, he has put out a post on the LinkedIn saying, and I'm going to read it out, what exactly he has said. He has said, how did Modi government get hold of the numbers? How can a government blatantly spam the non-Indians in the thousands? That's what the question which this gentleman from UAE has raised. He apparently is a Pakistani national. So how has the government used this data? Is this a violation of Model Code of Conduct? Is this a breach of privacy, as many are pointing it out? All of this we're going to discuss in the next half an hour, and I have a very special panel today with me. Former Chief Election Commissioner O.P. Rawat has joined the show today, so thank you so much for joining. We have campaign strategist and computer engineer Ankit Lal with us. Thank you so much, Ankit. We have Shabnam Hashmi, who's a social and political activist. Thank you so much. And we have Girish Joshi, who's a senior journalist and editor who's worked with many, many channels. Thank you so much, Girish, for joining. And let me begin with Mr. O.P. Rawat, because, sir, isn't this, the letter of Prime Minister is dated 15th of March, but the messages have been received by all the users after the announcement of the Lok Sabha elections. Is this not a violation of the Model Code of Conduct, sir?
Nilu, for violation of Code of Conduct, the three elements are there. One is that elections must have been announced. Only then Code of Conduct comes into operation. The message must have emanated after that. And third is, it must have emanated from someone working for the government. So, if these three conditions are satisfied, then yes. Otherwise, it doesn't fall in the ambit of Code of Conduct. Now, in this particular case, I find that letter is dated 15th March. It was issued by Ministry of IT on 15th or 16th, before the elections are announced by 4 p.m. of 16th of March. After that, anybody circulating, making it viral, a non-official making it viral, that is something which is private enterprise. It has nothing to do with the government machinery. It has nothing to do with the government initiative. It has nothing to do with violation of Code of Conduct.
But sir, isn't it questionable that the Ministry of IT and Electronics is doing it? I'm not talking about the date when the users have received it, but obviously it has been received as an open letter by the WhatsApp users after the announcement of the Lok Sabha elections. So will it not be equivalent to a violation of MCC?
That is what I'm very clear about it, that date and time stamping of Ministry of IT, sending it to you. If that is before 4 p.m. on 16th March, yes. But if you are receiving it from third person.
So let me just put this out for the viewers also, and telling you as well that the letter is in the name of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is not the Ministry of IT and Electronics. The letter is signed by the Prime Minister, and the sender is the Ministry of IT and Electronics.
That is what I am also telling, that it is not material That letter is signed by Prime Minister because it is 15th March. So there is no violation by Prime Minister. Second thing, when was it sent by Ministry of IT? If it was sent, because WhatsApp is instant communication. So the date and time stamping of receiver and sender will be the same. So if it reaches someone through Ministry of IT person on 16th March before 4 p.m., then it will not be violation. But if after 4 p.m. on 16th March, then it becomes violation. But condition should be fulfilled that it has come straight from someone working for Ministry of IT, not XYZ private persons. Because I find that this is being made viral by public. Somebody is sending to you. Now, that is not a Ministry of IT person. So, and that is not violation.
Okay, let me get in Ankit Lal now, who's a campaign strategist. He's worked for the political parties earlier as well. How would you really see this open letter by the Prime Minister, Ankit?
So, WhatsApp business, which we talked about, is a paid service provided by the company Meta to multiple organizations. It is available for private companies, it is available for governments, it is available for anybody to use. There's a financial transaction that would have happened between Meti and IT and Meta, after which the messages would have started being sent. So first they would have received the green tick, then the messages would have to start being sent. What Mr. Rawat was talking about is something different. And what is happening is something totally different. What Mr. Rawat was pointing out is that individuals are forwarding that message. This issue is not about that at all. I received the message on the 17th of March. I have friends who have received the message on the 18th of March, which is well after announcement of the election, which is well under the ambit of the Model Code of Conduct. That is one. Secondly, WhatsApp charges per message for sending out these messages. 29 paisa is what the Telegraph has reported today. Now, if the message was sent out to, say, 10 crore people, which means 2.9 crore rupees plus applicable taxes, so 33 crore rupees is what Meti would have to pay, or any ministry or any government department would have to pay to the company Meta for sending out these messages. Whether that amount was paid before or after the announcement of the Model Code of Conduct is something that we need to look into, as per what Mr. Rawat is saying. Now, if the amount was paid after the Model Code of Conduct announcement, then what does it amount to?
All right. So, Mr. Rawat, you would want to answer this question. If the amount paid is after the announcement of the elections, so will it not be deemed as a violation of MCC?
If the amount is paid for a paid service of transferring these messages continues after 4 p.m., payment is made either before or after is not material, because if you have contracted a service, which is paid service and government had to pay for it, if messages are being transacted on that service, then it will be violation, because you cannot use any government resource for any such transaction. So, but I am not sure, because after I got your letter, I found that that message has come to me also, but it has come from XYZ private person, not on the paid service. Business account is something different, but it is running across the board on WhatsApp everywhere. So you will have to be very clear that paid service channel.
Two follow-up things on that.
Yeah.
So, of course, one will have to ask the Ministry of IT, RTI would have to file, cases would have to be filed, and we'll take the legal recourse, of course. But the messages being received by foreign individuals with the signature of the Indian Prime Minister, the letter nowhere mentions Ministry of IT. The letter mentions the Prime Minister, who is a candidate of Bharatiya Janata Party from the Lok Sabha Varanasi. The expenditure, would it amount to individual spending by the Prime Minister or not?
No, because Prime Minister has signed the letter on 15th of March, when no code of conduct is there, no elections are there, and there is no issue of expenditure on election expenditure of the candidate.
Even if the amount is paid after the Model Code of Conduct is put into place?
Amount paid or not paid is not important at all. Just not at all. What is important that if a paid service is being used to transit that message to someone else after 4 p.m. on 16th March, that is crucial.
Okay.
Ankit, now let me just inform the viewers, and I just want to read the last paragraph of the letter which has been signed by the Prime Minister and which the WhatsApp users have received. It says that the beauty of democracy lies in Jan Bhagidari or public participation. It is your support that gives me the immense strength to take bold decisions for the nation's welfare, draw up aspirational plans, and implement them smoothly. I need and indeed look forward to your ideas, suggestions, and support as we work to fulfill the resolve of building a Viksit Bharat. I'm confident that we will continue to take our nation to great heights together. Now, and this is signed by the Prime Minister. Now, Girish, if I may come to you, we recently saw this whole issue around the electoral bond scam. Government is really on a sticky wicket. It has not been able to answer, except that, it wants to divert. This letter, many are seeing as a diversionary tactics, even though we do not know whether it's a violation of the Model Code of Conduct or not. That has to be investigated into. But does this letter look like a diversionary tactics?
The first thing is that he has not made any appeal directly to the voters. So I think technically it won't get qualified. As he said in Karnataka that EVM ka button dabaiyega tabhi Hanuman ji ka naam lijiyega. That was something which he was trying to provoke or influence somebody. So he has very smartly just said what they are going to do, what they are doing, and he has said his blessings and support. So I think they will just.
I know. I didn't read out the entire letter, but the letter was also
Yes.
talking about. I'm going to read out another paragraph so you would get a better idea. That success of efforts such as Pakka houses through the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, access to electricity, water, and LPG for all, free medical treatments through Ayushman Bharat, financial help to farmers, assistance to women through Matru Vandana Yojana, and many more have been possible only due to the trust that you have placed in me. So he's listing out the welfare schemes as well.
That is what he has done. He wants to highlight that what he has done, what are the achievements. But in first place, we are just playing the flute. Who is going to listen to it? If you see the things that are occurring recently, in recent development, the Vikas Sahai, who has been, he's the DGP of Gujarat, his elder brother has been recently posted there as DGP in West Bengal. He's the person who was in charge of Mamata Banerjee's security, and when she got injured, he was suspended. And then he has been again reverted and taken back. So that sense of they are working on a very minute things, that what is the mentality of a person, how much vision. So they are working on the micro systems. So I don't. He has got a habit to put some stones in the stale water. Because every time you get diverted and you get knighted, a lot of things are happening. You see, Baroda, the sitting MLA has resigned, telling that I don't want to stay in a party where I don't have respect. Even Jharkhand, something is happening. So whenever he gets confused, he will always try to divert the things. And now we all get into the discussion that some Pakistani national in UAE got this letter, but then he has got his purpose solved. And we are looking at this.
But a prime minister making an appeal to a Pakistani national who is based in UAE, had it been Rahul Gandhi, they would have called him an anti-national. That look, he's asking for votes from a Pakistani. So what about that narrative, Giri?
Yes. No, one thing is very clear, that how did that number appear in the data? First thing is, where did they get this data from?
Yes.
And otherwise also, I don't know, the expert here on the panel can tell us. Normally, if you forward too many times, you are blocked to sending message only once.
Absolutely. In fact,
when it is forwarded too many times.
Yeah, you've raised a valid point. I'll come to Ankit. I'll come to Ankit on this point. That how on earth did the government of India get hold of so many numbers? Did Airtel or companies like Jio, did they share the data? How did this happen? And also with the foreign nationals, how is the government sharing that data? I mean, all this looks very, very cloudy. So what are the concerning issues here?
The government, via Data Privacy Bill 2023, had laid out certain provisions. Now, the current circumstances, there are a clear violation of the terms and conditions put out in the Data Privacy Bill 2023. Now, how the data was procured is a matter of great concern. consent is another matter of great concern. So, for example, if I, as an individual user, did not solicit such messages, as per TRI regulations, the company which is sending me the message should be fined. Okay, but in this case, it is METI who has provided the data to the company Meta and asked them to send out these messages. There would have been a contract between the two, between the organization, government organization, and the company. Now, Meta has certain rules and frameworks in which they function. They, as a company, should have certain provisions as per which they don't allow political communication to happen via their platforms. They have got into multiple cases across the globe, be it Singapore, be it US, be it Europe. They have already got into multiple cases on the data privacy issue already. So it is not only the government of India who has to answer, but also Meta who will have to answer as to how did they allow blatant political campaigning, and also what is the source of the data and why that data was not taken via consent. So I, as an individual, did not provide any consent. People who are living in UAE and who are not even Indian nationals, they did not provide any sort of consent. So was MEA database in which people apply for visas, was that used as a data source apart from other data sources? Where the companies coaxed or asked to provide data sets of their users, which is the provision under which they were asked to provide the data set, and was the government legally authorized to use these data sets without proper authorization from the individual users? It's
No,
something
but
that will have to be looked into.
does it qualify for a case of data theft, that the government secretively has been using the data of its own citizens? Does it qualify for a case like that?
We'll know once we move to the courts. The court will have to take a decision with that, but we do believe, me and other people like me, we do believe that this is a case of severe data breach and data theft.
Right. All right. Let me just inform the viewers that lawyer and observer trustee of the Internet Freedom Foundation, Apar Gupta. In fact, I spoke to him on the phone and I had requested him to be on the program also, but he had certain engagements. So he has tweeted that how can we expect the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023 to be enforced in citizen interest when the nodal ministry, that is the Government of India, Ministry of IT and Electronics, sends unsolicited spam promoting the Prime Minister on your WhatsApp. Shabnam, I'll come to you now. What really concerns you as a citizen after seeing this open letter by the Prime Minister, which is supported by the Ministry of IT and Electronics? What are the concerning issues in your mind as an activist and also as a citizen?
You see, one is that, as somebody mentioned here, that Prime Minister and the whole of the Sangh, they use every opportunity in a very creative way to just divert the whole attention. Now, as Joshi Saab said, that everyone is talking about this letter and the electoral bonds have gone somewhere in the background. Second thing which concerns me is why is taxpayers' money, whether it was paid before the election was announced or whether it was paid after the election was announced. In both cases, why is taxpayers' money being used to spam citizens of this country? I mean, I think I'm one of those rare, very fortunate people who has not received this letter, because my number must have been blacklisted long ago for any such campaigns. But the fact that I have been receiving it from so many other people, and with from the official handle, people are sending screenshots that it is coming from the official handles. So whether it is, I mean, I'm unable to figure out whether it was sent before 16th 4 p.m. or after that, but I'm sure that there is no way that in one day you could have, between the 15th when Prime Minister signed the letter and 16th 4 p.m., there is no way that crores of messages could have gone out despite whatever technology you have. Exactly. So all these things are of, are very worrying. Right. And if you are letting one party do it, I mean, anything, you post anything on Facebook or Twitter. I mean, there are so many of my colleagues whose Facebook's accounts have been shut down because they have posted something which is against this government, or Twitter accounts have been. How is the BJP being officially allowed to just spam the whole country? Right. This is absolutely unacceptable.
Right. Mr. Rawat, but as a former CEC, would you not recommend that the Chief Election Commissioner, presently Rajiv Kumar, should investigate into the matter at least? We do not know whether it qualifies for a violation or not of the MCC, but at least some sort of an investigation, some sort of a finding on this, that what has gone wrong, how have the messages been received by so many WhatsApp users, or he'll sit pretty quiet thinking that, okay, this was a letter which was dated 15th of March, and therefore I need not get into this business at all.
Actually, Election Commission never goes so moto into the complaints of MCC violation, because that would become unfair to all those people or all those activities which are easily visible to the Election Commission. So they always move only on complaint. Second thing is this, that if all these services were contracted before the Model Code of Conduct came into force, like advertisements, meta services, all these things, even then, as soon as Model Code of Conduct is enforced at 4 p.m. on 16th March, it is expected of the concerned ministry and government to advise all their agents, media channels, wherever they have contracted such services, to stop forthwith that activity. Only till 4 p.m. they were authorized to send those messages. Any message going after 4 p.m. when elections were announced will be a violation and ministry can be hauled up. Only thing is that there has to be a complaint. Only then Election Commission will be able to investigate and take a recourse to action.
Right. But Ankit, what I want to know from you is that now, since the foreign nationals have been writing, Telegraph has done a story, all these letters have been, this letter has been received by a large section of the WhatsApp users. So why is there a delay in filing a complaint with the Election Commission? Are the people still wondering? Are the people not sure whether it qualifies for a violation of the MCC, or people are trying to check whether the other person has got the WhatsApp or not? Because for the last 2-3 days, I've got many calls asking, oh, did you get the Prime Minister's letter? So people are trying to figure out that, oh, whether they are the only ones who got it or whether there are other users as well.
So initially there was a confusion for sure, but now a TMC member of parliament has filed an official complaint with the Election Commission, and the Election Commission will take due action as per the procedure. But I believe this case would not only stop at that, because we really don't expect the Election Commission is in a position to take concrete action on this. This case will move to the courts as well. And with the data privacy laws in place, had the same happened to any individual in the European Union, Meta would have been called for a hearing to explain why they did this and what the source of the data. Sadly, we as a democracy are as of yet not that mature. So maybe we'll have to find other ways via court and all. So people like us will try and continue to do that.
So basically now there could be complaints lodged, as Saket has already lodged a complaint with there could be a flurry of petitions on this in the Supreme Court?
In the High Court or the Supreme Court, depending on the jurisdiction, there'll be several complaints, I believe.
All right. So now how soon the Election Commission will act, we do not know, Girish, but looking at the tardy pace which we have seen in the past, and now Supreme Court coming down heavily on the government on various issues, whether it was the Chandigarh mayor elections and the electoral bonds, all of this shows that, and today, of course, one should not forget Baba Ramdev, the kind of rap they've got today by the Supreme Court. So after this petition is filed in the Supreme Court, is there a possibility that, the government might be hauled up on this as well, that how on earth could they do this? And this looks like a clear misuse of the data of its own citizens.
You see, first thing I'll remind you is the 1994 case when Sitaram Kesri and Kalpanath Rai had made a promise that there will be reservation for Muslims and the sugar quota will be enhanced. Moment TN Session came to know that, he calls up Narasimha Rao and tells that dismiss both of the guys from Congress party. That is the strictness of the violation of code of conduct. So ifs and buts cannot be here. And when that if and buts are not there. Secondly, when CEC told in his conference
Girish,
that they have,
But Girish, that was TN Session. And we have a Rajiv Kumar. We do not know
No,
whether
that is
it's
fine.
correct or not.
Person does not rule the country. It's the constitution. It's the rule book that. So if we are going by party rule, then it's fine. We will change it after the party changes. Secondly, see, if I remind you, he said that they have created a portal called e-Vigil.
Hmm.
I am trying to download that for 2 days. You know, if you just go in and it crashes, telling
Right. Your audio has got disconnected.
many people have put this on the e-Vigil. So, we'll have to find a report there that how many people put that. Many people would have reported this to e-Vigil with a photograph. They are supposed to answer within 48 hours or 72. Let us see if this has been done, how many people get reply on that. That is the second thing. And when you get into judiciary issue, that will always, it's a delay process. It's not going to get so easily. What maximum can the court do is give a stay order that henceforth you're not doing, but the purpose is solved. It doesn't mean even if they withdraw the letter.
Yes. But Mr. Rawat, I think Mr. Rawat wanted to make a point. I could see him smiling, so I thought.
I just wanted to clarify that it is not e-Vigil, it is C-Vigil, Citizen Vigilance. And
Okay.
if you
Yes, C-Vigil. Yeah, sorry.
if you want to download C-Vigil, you
C-Vigil,
can do it right now.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let me get in a quick comment from Shabnam now that now, of course, the things look like that the complaint has already been lodged with the Election Commission by Saket Gokhale. There could be a flurry of petitions in the Supreme Court. So can the government really be hauled up now? Can Prime Minister or the Ministry of IT and Electronics, because that's a sender which is seen with its address at the CGO complex. So is there a possibility that they might be hauled up by the court?
Well, they can be hauled up by the court, especially the last 2-3 judgments that we have seen. Otherwise, one had lost all the hope in the judiciary also. But the question is that letter has already gone to crores of people. Even if they are hauled up, I mean, the letter has reached, people have read it. So, I mean, either you allow the opposition to say that now you can officially send the letter to all those people whom that is not going to happen. So, hauling the government now is not going to make any difference.
Right. Okay. But Mr. Rawat, this sort of a thing doesn't get repeated. The opposition parties should get a level playing field. All that is expected out of the Election Commission. So what can the EC do now? Now that we know that Saket Gokhale has already lodged a complaint, how soon or how later will the Election Commission act on this? We do not know. But what can the EC do so that, this sort of a thing doesn't get repeated? Today, it's a BJP which is doing it. Tomorrow, there could be another government and which could repeat the same thing because the power of the WhatsApp is such.
You can take very stern action because using government machinery for furthering your electoral chances, that's a corrupt practice and that has severe consequences. Only thing is that when complaint is received, Election Commission shall move only then. They will issue a show cause notice.
But now you are saying, Mr. Rawat, you just said that the Election Commission should take a stern notice of whatever is happening. So where will the buck stop? Will the buck stop at the Prime Minister with the Ministry of IT and Electronics?
Not should, number one. Number two, Prime Minister has not violated any code of conduct because he has signed the letter on 15th of March. So he is not in the picture at all. It's the official who has contracted a service, paid service, and that service is used to send these messages after 4 p.m. on 16th March. That official will be proceeded against and vicarious liability of the ministry because that official belongs to the ministry. So vicarious liability of the ministry will be there. Those will be hauled up.
Okay, so I'll come for the concluding comments now to Ankit. What would you say now? How does this case move forward from the purpose has already been served because the letter has already gone out, but there are lots of questions still remaining.
So the issue is around the larger data privacy and how a foreign platform like Meta has interfered with the Indian election process at large. So there are multiple questions regarding data privacy, regarding a foreign company being allowed to interfere with the electoral process after the announcement of the Model Code of Conduct, around individuals of other countries who are citizens of other countries getting messages from the Indian Prime Minister. There are multiple issues in this. So as and when we proceed, when we talk to the lawyers, we'll be taking care of each of these issues.
Right. So lots of questions which need to be answered as far as the data privacy is concerned. Of course, a violation of Model Code of Conduct. Saket Gokhale has already filed a complaint. So we'll have to wait and watch how soon or how later will the Election Commission act on this. Thank you so much, Mr. O.P. Rawat, Ankit Lal, Girish Joshi, Shabnam. Thank you so much for joining.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.
The Federal is organizing the Tenkasi Marathon 2024 on March 24. This marathon is about raising awareness for 100% voting, supporting breast cancer awareness, and celebrating International Women's Day month. This event is sponsored by Scan.